Good morning. Thanks for tuning in. I'm joined today by Laura Hain and Ted Kroll, both with Livingston Educational Service Agency's Career Development Department. Welcome, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you both being here today. Laura, your background, and it's been just a pleasure to have you on our show. We've been on several times before, but your focus is really on career and college readiness. And then Ted, this is, I think, your first time on our show.
Yes.
Well, we are excited to have you as the Director of Alternative and Adult Education. So welcome. To start, I would just really like you guys to just share a little bit about yourselves and just kind of what drew you to work at LESA. And then we'll talk a little bit more about why we're here today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I really appreciate being back on the show. I've talked a bit about my background as a school counselor and then going into career and college readiness at LESA. It was a new position 6 years ago. And over this time, I've been able to make some awesome connections with employers and connect them with students and create some projects like Job Shadow Day and our Manufacturing Day, Youth Employment Fair, and then working with kids just in general on career and college readiness. So it's been a real pleasure.
Well, it's awesome to have you, Laura, and I love working, as a chamber. It just makes so much sense for us to work together as we look to connect talent and business, and also keeping the talent local. So.
Absolutely.
And how about you, Ted?
Yeah, so I taught for 13 years and 3 years as an administrator, working with alternative ed students. And what drew me to LESA was the Director of Alternative and Education role, where I'm working with students from all 5 districts and then helping adults get their GED, their high school completion, and then like adult secondary ed, so wanting to like tune up on certain areas or subjects that they might need help with. In addition,
so like upskilling in some way.
Yeah, upskilling around. Like we had a lady come in who really wanted to brush up on like her algebra, brush up on some of her grammar as she was getting ready to like kind of go back into the workforce. And so she spent a couple months with us doing those type of things. And then in addition, I work with as a partner with Michigan Works and run an individualized youth program along with Candace Ulrich at Livingston ESA. And the big piece of that has to deal with job placement and finding career paths for students. So Laura and my world kind of intersect at certain points with our adult students and then the students that are in my other 2 programs.
Yeah, you've done some really cool things with students and connecting them with employers in our community.
I'm going to talk a little bit about some of those too.
That's exciting. No, I mean, it's a really unique position that you're in, so
Yeah.
it's very cool. I'm excited to learn more. So we invited you guys on today to talk a little bit about this free employer workshop for student events being hosted by LESA in Ann Arbor Spark, and this is coming up on Wednesday, July 27th from 11 to 1 p.m. So what can you tell us about this event and why you're hosting it and all of that?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, it's free. So, and there's lunch. So
Ooh.
Double bonus, right? But on top of that, we are really working to help our employers and open up their doors to students. We have worked for a while on creating some different events for students where they can take a day from school and go spend the day with an employer in the community, someone that they may be interested in working for or that represents a career field that they would like to explore more. So this event for employers is talking a little bit more about how to open up your doors for students and make it a meaningful day for both the employer and the student to connect, learn more, and then possibly explore next steps.
And this is specifically about Job Shadow Day.
Well, it's actually
it's
a dual purpose. In the first hour of our workshop, we're going to be talking about Job Shadow Day, and then best practices. We'll hear from a special guest who has had some people some students come in and shadow in a pretty cool position, and then some other ideas that we've learned along the way as far as how to make job shadowing the most beneficial for employers. And then we'll have lunch, and then after lunch we invite anyone who's in manufacturing to stay, because we also are going to be working on best practices about our manufacturing day. So we'll be hosting a manufacturing day in October, and we want to help employers get the most out of that event for students as well.
Awesome.
Sometimes we just see, like, as the employers come in, when I worked with employers, they're sometimes a little bit scared getting the teenagers in the first time, and so our goal is to, like, how to connect with them, how to make that a great experience for them and the employer, and then the benefits of kind of that untapped resource of what these students can bring to their businesses and help them out as well.
Absolutely. So what are can you share some success stories from, employers that have hosted or participated in Job Shadow or Manufacturing Day?
Yeah, absolutely. I was just doing our stats for this presentation, and it's grown exponentially. I mean, we've grown to about 100 plus businesses that participate. And at the end of this last event, we had 3 students who walked away with either job offers or just invite to come back and participate again because they saw the excitement and the quality of what they're looking for in education and matching with their with employers' goals. So it was pretty exciting, especially to see some actual employment. That wasn't the intention of Job Shadow Day, but it sure worked out really well.
It sounds like it. Now, one of the things that I think a lot of the times, and I could be totally wrong, but is I do think that sometimes there's a little bit of hesitation from the employer side, because I do feel like it is can be a little intimidating, or you can sit there and say, no kid is going to want to be interested or is interested in coming to see what it's like to be a plumber for a day, or do these types of things. So what kind of advice, or what would you say to that employer that maybe has those types of hesitations or reservations?
I think students don't always know what's out there, so sometimes they're just eager to go and see what else is there to do besides maybe those careers they hear about or always like kind of grew up just knowing. I mean, I think about some of the students we've had students shadow our maintenance department at LESA, and they came out like, oh my gosh, I really like this idea of like working with electrical or working with plumbing, or we've had students that have done the same thing with like the ergonomics and flow of business with one of our companies, and that does sign creation and how hospitals work, and she had no clue going in and like came out of it like, this is amazing, I want to do this. So I think sometimes it just opens up those doors of, I would tell business owners, they don't know what you do or don't know what your job entails. So it really is enlightening to the students to see all the options that are out there.
So, and what kind of employers are invited to this? Is it kind of encompass all employers? I mean, like, I'm thinking like nonprofits, all of these different industries.
Yep, everybody is invited. And, kind of back to your question about, thinking that students might be bored. I think part of the concern for students is they don't really know what it's like to be in a workplace. So especially like with the legal system, one of our students went in and they thought, lawyers fought with each other in the courtroom and things like that. And they were surprised at how amicable things were. I mean, just ideas that are misconceptions that they get from media and then learning how something really is. And then also it is time out of an employer's day, but some of the best practices that we're going to be talking about at this workshop is how to efficiently work in your daily grind that you need to do, all the things that you have to do, but allow students to be a part of that and kind of share that day with them.
Fantastic. Well, thank you both for sharing some insight on that. I think you had some really good pieces of information to share. Registration is being done through Eventbrite, the employer workshop for student events. Link will be posted with this YouTube channel, I believe, to register, and the registration needs to be done by July 25th.
Yes, that would be ideal. I mean,
just so you can reserve lunch.
Yes, we're reserving lunch, so yes.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you for sharing more information about that. But Ted, I wanted to give you an opportunity to share a little bit about in-school youth.
Yeah, so it's what we partner with Michigan Works on with our program at Livingston ESA, with the focus of helping high school students who meet eligibility requirements explore career pathways through job shadows, through on-the-job trainings, through like direction and kind of career advising with one-on-one career advisors. So they pair up with one of us, myself or Candace at Livingston ESA, and we help them do things from career matchmaking to trying to set up on-the-job trainings, job shadows, for some of our students getting them into paid work experiences, and this kind of goes with the job shadow piece, where some of our students will spend a day or two with different businesses, and then we work with those businesses to help get a paid work experience that gets funded for them through the WIOA grant, which is a federal grant that Michigan Works houses. So the idea is to not cost the business anything and open up opportunities for students.
That sounds like an amazing program. How many employers in Livingston County take part in that program currently? Do you know that number off the
It
top
kind
of
of
your head?
depends on
Okay.
the amount of students we have. We've had at least 7 different employers take advantage or host or even go through a paid work experience with our students, from Brighton to Fowlerville to Pinckney, like all over the county, different businesses. We've even, looked at matching students up into actual jobs with some of these companies. So not only have they participated, but they've actually got employees out of our program afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where I see that this would be such a huge draw, then to just kind of get them in the door with that paid work experience and that support on your end through those federal funding dollars.
Right.
Now, are there certain criteria that the employer has to meet in order to be a host or to partner in this program?
No, for the employer, not at all. I mean, there's some of the pieces of having the things you need posted by the federal government and regulations up. But other than that, just the willingness to work with Michigan Works, to work with students, and to provide opportunities for students.
And about how much time would you say it was required from an employer's perspective?
So when I've worked with employers before, we're talking besides the initial meeting and maybe doing like a midterm through the paid work experiences, which can go from 6 weeks to 16 weeks. What we see is very little kind of intrusion into their day besides just understanding what it is, doing some of the paperwork that follows up. So maybe an hour or two of actual additional labor besides working with that student.
Well, the bonus is they get this really great opportunity to create this talent pipeline essentially, or to have a student employed right out of high school. That sounds like a phenomenal program. So from the student side, is there good response as well?
Yeah, we're always looking for more students.
Okay.
It's one of those things with the in-school students, kind of getting to know someone outside of their school can kind of be a challenge. So we work with our counselors, we work with our different local districts to try to find students that would meet the eligibility for that. But then for the student, in addition, they get some good things like we can help them with supportive services, from things like mileage to uniforms to equipment. So some of those barriers that might get in their way of trying a job for 6 weeks, like I don't want to buy all this stuff, I don't have the nice clothes, we try to help that.
That's fantastic. That sounds like an incredible program. If anybody's interested in learning more, how would they contact you?
Through my email, which is tedkroll@livingstonesa.org, or they can just contact Livingston ESA and ask for more information on the in-school youth program.
All right, awesome, fantastic. And Laura, I wanted to give you an opportunity to offer some contact information as well if somebody's interested in learning more or just has some questions about the workshop coming up.
Absolutely. So again, my email, Laura Hain, and we'll probably put it in the, because it's different spelling, at livingstonesa.org. But you can also, again, just contact LESA and they'll put you through to speak with me or someone in our department.
Wonderful. Well, thank you both for joining us today. It was great to hear all the wonderful things you're doing. It's exciting to just see the connections happening between an employer and our youth and such right here in Livingston County. So thanks again.
Thank you so much.